Hello, thank you for joining us on The World Now. President Bola Tinubu has departed Abuja for Beijing, China on Thursday for a high diplomatic mission. The presidency announced on Tuesday that the president's itinerary includes a visit to prominent Chinese firms such as Huawei Technologies and the China Railway and Construction Corporation. This engagement aimed to accelerate the completion of the Ibadan to Abuja segment of the Lagos to Kano high-speed rail line, among other significant projects. In a statement released on Thursday, the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, explained that President Tinubu will make a brief stopover in the United Arab Emirates. Well, joining us to discuss relations between Nigeria and China is a convener, Integration Summit Group Nigeria, Dr. Chris Akiya. Thank you for joining us on The World Now.
Thank you and good evening.
Well, this visit is coming at a time Nigeria is battling a double-digit inflation, and the president is expected to meet CEOs and also, major oil stakeholders in the region. What's the prospect of this visit?
All right. So we've had several of these African summits with China, and it has its plus and its minus over the years. Dating from 2002 through 2017 till date. And I think that we have to go cap in hand ready with what we want in our bargains, or we can just go in empty and come back empty. I believe that the Chinese government is struggling to make sure that it has an inroads in Africa in terms of security, economic growth, and Africa being its biggest market, it's somewhere I think they're looking into competing with the rest of the world with Africa. But the problem in these kind of meetings are that oftentimes African leadership, including Nigeria, goes to those meetings ill-prepared, very ill-prepared. So they just get there and then grab anything they can find, sometimes at very expensive rate to develop Africa, thereby creating a debt burden for citizens of a country. But I believe that in all, if we tailor this properly, we can take something on the table that can help improve Africa in the energy sector, in the agricultural sector.
As China has become one of the key sources of infrastructure development in Nigeria, if you look at the statement released by the special advisor to the president, it says this engagement is aimed at accelerating the completion of the Ibadan to Abuja segment of the Lagos to Kano highway. Did you see this, coming through?
Yeah, under the last administration, they took a lot of Chinese loans to do the rails. We've not been able to really benefit from that experience. But I also think it's about management and planning. Like I said earlier, if you do not plan, you just go and grab capping and whatever is available. I believe that if the president wants the best, that is achievable. Of course, with a debt burden on it. But the Chinese government is also benefiting because we're the dumping ground for Chinese products. So I think that you should trade properly with a good team to negotiate and get that rail on track. That rail has an economic impact that can improve movement of goods and services from south to the north and reduce the burden on our already broken down highways. So this trip technically is what Nigeria needs to move on. However, the processes of the Chinese loan are usually laced with a lot of secrecy that we do not even know what is embedded in it. I think that the team that is going with the president must this time be open and transparent with whatever they're doing in terms of these infrastructural loans we're bringing into our country. It's very key and very important so we know the exposure that the country is going to have for that massive infrastructure that we're talking about.
And taking it away from the economic implications this will have on the nation, let's look at the security implication. This visit is also coming at a time where there are high-level concerns about a foreign influence of other nations in things, relating to Nigeria, especially if you look at what happened in the August protest. Do you perhaps have a reaction to this?
Well, I think there's always going to be a security issue when any other country moves into Africa, particularly from the West, be it Chinese, be it India, be it, except it's Britain and America. They tend to seem to be, very comfortable with maybe Britain, America, and Europe. They tend to seem to be very comfortable as owners of African territory. So the security concerns will be perhaps from other superpowers thinking that China is getting inroads and may have a base in Africa for power play and power block. So it's expected. There is no time that this kind of business will not give security concerns. But the most important aspect of it is we should not bother ourselves with their security concerns, because we need to develop ourselves to the level where we can compete in the global economy. And if the government of the West seem not to be ready to invest in Africa and China is doing it, then we need to embrace it. But my concern has been that it should be open and transparent. The security issue, it's already here. We can't even get equipment. War equipment is difficult from the West. They tend to tell us what we must get and what we can't get. So the partnership should be for both economic growth and security of Africa.
Thank you very much for that. Integration Summit Group Nigeria convener, Dr. Chris Ekiya. Thank you for joining us on The World Now.
Thank you.
Now, China's trade with Africa grew steadily in the first 7 months of the year, rising 5.5% on year to 1.19 trillion yuan. According to data released by the General Administration of Customs, China to Africa trade reached a record high of $282.1 billion in 2023, up 1.5% year on year, showing strong resilience. In 2023, China's import of African units, vegetables, flowers, and fruit increased by 130%, 32%, 14%, and 7% respectively from the previous year. And China's new energy vehicles, lithium batteries, and products exported to Africa increased by 291%, 109%, and 57% year-on-year, respectively. China has remained Africa's largest trading partner for 15 consecutive years, according to the customs. And still talking bilateral relations, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov held bilateral talks with his Senegalese counterpart, Yassine Fall, in Moscow on Thursday. Speaking during the joint news conference, Senegal's Foreign Minister Yassine said the two countries hope to increase collaboration on mineral exploration, energy, agriculture, scientific research, formation of hydrocarbon workers, as well as fisheries. Ms. Fall also noted that Senegal advocates for a peaceful solution to conflicts in the Sahel region, as well as the Russian-Ukraine crisis. On the 30th of August 2023, Congolese security forces killed at least 57 people in Goma, the capital of the North Kivu province. Most were members of a mystic religious group, the Natural Judaic and Messianic Faith towards the nation, who were preparing a protest against the United Nations Stabilization Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Those who were arrested are still detained at the central prison of Goma. On the first commemoration of the tragic event, relatives of the victims and congregants attended a ceremony. Pain and anger were palpable inside the new temple, and about 100 people were gathered on Friday. Civil society groups also maintain about 100 people were killed, higher than the official death toll. A trial followed the bloodshed, and the main suspects, Colonel Mike Minkombe, a Republic Guard commander at the time, was handed a death penalty. For a year on, faithful and right groups still call for what they term justice. Away from Africa to the Latin Americas, where crime has been on the increase in recent times. Children are now being recruited into gangs, causing an outcry from UNICEF. There's more in this report.
Nearly 130,000 children and adolescents in Mexico have fallen into criminal networks. According to UNICEF data, Jalisco is identified as the most at-risk state, with almost 21,000 minors vulnerable to recruitment. Despite the severity of this issue, recruiting minors into crime isn't currently classified as a crime in Mexico. But there are two initiatives in the Congress of the Republic aimed at penalizing those responsible for this alarming practice. Meanwhile, in Colombia, a guerrilla recruiter known as Camilo was apprehended for recruiting minors through social media. According to military intelligence, he was paid 2 million pesos for each child recruited into guerrilla ranks, including those sent to other factions. Using a cell phone and internet access, he lured victims with false job promises on platforms such as Facebook and reported his activities via WhatsApp. He was captured while transporting 2 girls, aged 13 and 17. This year alone, more than 300 children, mainly from indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, have been rescued by the military. Many families fear recruitment, leading some to flee their homes. Recovered minors are currently under the protection of the Colombian Family Welfare Institute. Earlier in the week, Colombian police also seized 2 pianos filled with cocaine that were being shipped abroad. According to official reports, the first piano, destined for Canada, contained more than 62 kilograms of cocaine. The second, bound for Portugal, held over 53 kilograms of the drug. The total value of the seized cocaine is estimated to be around £3.695 million on the international market as of August 2024. In terms of doses, the police intercepted approximately 289,000 individual doses of cocaine.
You're still watching The World Now on TVC News. We'll be back with more stories after this break. Stay with us.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen, following all nationwide big and impactful stories, without the news from every perspective, covering every human angle.